Hey, sports fans! Coach Nick here, and welcome to the post-game live show / perhaps a podcast tomorrow. We'll see. I am solo tonight, so we're going to do a lot of interactive things because I want to talk to you guys and hear what your thoughts were since I don't have someone to bounce a lot of ideas off of. But what a game! I had predicted that the Warriors are going to win. It certainly didn't look that way in the first half, but pretty insane stuff. So the overall impression I had of the first half was that the Raptors got so many open looks from behind the arc that they didn't make. And the Warriors had Steph Curry with malaise or the flu or some sort of low energy thing for almost the whole first half. And without Clay hitting some crazy good shots, it still should have been a 15-point lead at the halftime. So the Raptors really blew a great chance to, end this game early. So then you have Steph Curry going off. I think he got like 15 or 16 points in the last few minutes of the first half. And that was huge for them, huge for him. He seemed to get a little bit of jolt of energy, even though it didn't really sustain too much. But we're going to check the box score in a few minutes to see what he ended up with, because I feel like I don't think he had another 16, but we'll see. But at any rate, some crazy games. So now the referees were involved the whole time. And certainly in the first half, the Raptors had a lot to be frustrated with. There were some really bad calls. I've already texted Ronnie to do, with all these days in between games, we can do a lot of segments on game two. So I'm hoping to get a full, we might have to do a two-parter with Ronnie because it'll be so long with all the calls we have to go through because there were a lot. Now, the Warriors do have some beef as well. There are some problematic calls. I'm curious what you guys think about the Steph Curry technical foul that they got called for tossing the ball up in the air about 20 feet with about, 2 minutes to go. That could have been really crucial. Ended up being not so crucial because the Warriors did hold on. But I think a lot of people thought that it shouldn't have been called. I just think that it was kind of dumb on Steph's part to even put himself in the situation. We also have the same, sort of dumb play by Kyle Lowry, his sixth foul. Now, I want to look at Kyle Lowry's box score. 4 for 11, 13 points, 2 assists. He did not really play that well again on offense at all. 3 for 7 from three-point land. And was a negative 17, which is a team worst, a negative 17 in the plus-minus. So, like him getting a sixth foul may not have really been that bad, certainly because, Fred VanVleet was much better. He was 7 for 17 in 38 minutes for 17 points, 2 assists. So the Raptors had 17 assists compared to the 34 assists of the Warriors. And when you watch that huge run in the third quarter by the Warriors, it was like an unending layup line at the basket. It's crazy and beautiful passing. Really give credit to Steve Kerr for starting Boogie and sticking with him because I thought it was a problem for them with them attacking him in the pick and roll. It really, and he was just about balancing it out with his offense. He was making some nice passes and doing well, but he really turned it on in the second half. And his line overall ended up being 3 for 8, 11 points, nothing too crazy, but 10 rebounds, and they needed every one of those. And then 6 assists. So he really provided some guidance and some thrust on offense they really needed because I caught the Klay Thompson, luckily for them, it's a hamstring injury right when it happened because it was such an awkward landing, especially for him. The only question we have is, did Danny Green, was there contact? Yeah, maybe a little bit, but, the referees, you couldn't expect much more from Scott Foster and Tony Brothers. It's really kind of a strange thing that they're in the finals anyway, and that they're both in the same game, is really strange. Now, Warriors fans, I'm sure know, but both these guys, I believe, have a tendency to be against them and not call fouls. And so it might have been a surprise to them that they did benefit from some calls, but luckily, it didn't quite come down to much, although that technical foul on Steph seemed to be one of those things the referees were going to end up being, too involved. So, luckily for them, it wasn't. It didn't come out in the ultimately in the score. But I just hope they don't have both of these guys in the same game again, Brothers and Scott Foster. It just doesn't work. Let's go to the questions here. I'm going to quickly scroll down. Let's make this interactive here. So. Welcome. I'm pissed. Zeke Money is I'm pissed. If you're a Raptors fan, you should be pissed because of that first half. That was when you had your chance. And once you give the Warriors that kind of run, and they got to a 13-point lead, kudos to the Raptors for actually like getting it back into a game and cutting it back to 8 and 7 and making it closer. But you cannot give the Warriors, even without Clay, you can't give them that much of a chance to get control and not knock him down in the first half when you had your chance. Let's see here. Martin Patterson, what a game. Absolutely. It was good. It was a good game. It was all over the place, kind of exhausting in some ways, right? Kind of hard for me to get my head around too, because I know I'm gonna have to go through a lot of film and sort of see. One thing that was really interesting, and Nick Bedard was right, refs were brutal. The boxing one by Nick Nurse. Listen, give this guy credit. He's coached in a lot of different places, and has had a coach out of the bag, meaning like he hasn't had a lot of talent in certain areas he's been into, and he's had to sort of come up with coaching ways to overcome whatever deficiencies he's had talent-wise. And I love it. The fact that they ran to it, and it definitely worked. It definitely, they got some shots. Bookie had a beautiful left wing three. They just bricked it. And then another one where Bookie got a catch at the rim off of, they sent Curry off of his pin down, and he didn't shoot it. He kicks it back out, and then against the box and one, they're going to be back in position pretty quickly after one pass. So, the Warriors had their chance, and I'm sure they're going to look through that and realize. We got a super chat. All right. Thank you, Matt Blanchett. He says, the Raptors shot themselves in the foot in the third, in my opinion. How do they game plan not just to get better shots at the rim next game? I think Nick Nurse is going to end up saying, listen, we had a lot of shots they could make from the outside. And they're going to probably have to the game plan might have to be to focus more on attacking the rim off the dribble and getting those shots in the lane. I think that we're going to have to look at the film to see exactly the breakdowns. I know Clay got past his man a couple times. Just really nice passes, really nice cutting, nice finishes. And they might have even had another cut that they missed the layup on or missed a close shot, as I remember. So they're going to really have to take a look at that, because when you're so focused on trying to stop the three and denying, back doors happen. And if they do it right and quickly enough, there's no way to rotate. So that's what they're going to have to do. Another super chat. Awesome. Thank you, guys. This is so exciting to see. Jedi Jazza. If I say that right. What do you think of the Raptors D on Curry? So again, like I mentioned with the box and one, love it. I want to see that more in the first half. Now again, they can do it because Clay was out, but heck, you could try triangle and two on those two guys. Why not? I mean, it's kind of like what they're doing probably anyway with those concepts. So really interesting stuff there. So they did really well. Let's go to quickly Curry's box score line, because I'm curious to see what that looked like. 6 for 17, 3 for 10, 8 for 9. Now remember, he had was low energy, missed his first 6 shots, and when he came alive, so let's take that away, he was 6 for 11, if my math is right, and I bet you he was 3 for 6 on threes, and then 8 for 9 from the line. So we got to the free throw line too. By the way, I didn't really have much of a problem with him slamming on the brakes and going up in Siakam coming in and running into him. We've certainly seen Chris Paul do that a lot, usually in the open court, like near half court, and he'll stop suddenly, and the guy runs up his back. And it is frustrating, and a lot of times there's a little bit more of a provocative move by CP3 to really get into the guy, which I don't like as much. This just seemed more like, he's slamming the brakes, and as a defender, you can't run into the guy with the ball and knock him over like that. So I see what the referees called it, but interesting. They had, Javi come out and talk about that one, which is interesting. And he said it was right. It's a tough call. Let's see here. Who else can? We have a good thing. I'm gonna head over to the chat in the Periscope in a second. But let's go through here and see. Do we have Gigolo Puff out there in the chat? It looks like he's moderating. Let's see here. Brett Thompson. Hey, Coach, top fan here. Hey, Brett. Where can I go for more B-ball breakdown content? Great question. Well, if you go to Heat Check today, you might have seen yesterday's video, which went viral. People really loved how me and Stefan went back and forth. Same kind of thing. We studied Fred VanVleet's game earlier today. He released it. So go over there and watch that at Heat Check. It's really good as well. And I really went over some really cool stuff footwork-wise that VanVleet did to get open and attack that I think are really worthwhile if you want to improve your basketball IQ and your play on the court. I went over some really cool stuff. Skip dribble stuff, off-foot layups. Check that out. Let's see here. Let me head over to, let's see. Orlando Biotechnology. Thank you for another super chat. Love them. Keep them coming. Siakam was awful. Gasol needs to stop being scared. Yeah, Siakam was not the same guy. And again, I think I had predicted this. He's just going to be up and down. He is young. He doesn't have the experience. And the way he got a lot of his points in transition, which is when he'll excel no matter what in game one. And the Warriors were able to limit that a lot, I feel like, and even though I bet you they still had a lot of turnovers. The Warriors had, 15 turnovers, which is probably about 2 or 3 more than they would want, but they limited the fast break as far as I can remember in the opportunities there, which is where Siakam got. I would give him 12 points maybe in game 1. So naturally that would affect him. But 5 for 18, he didn't finish well at the rim either. And somewhat version of a regression to the mean. So I suspect in game 3 he'll be somewhere in the middle. But again, it's on the road. And we all know Oracle is a really brutal place to play as an away team, and they don't have any experience with that in the finals. So I would imagine, if I had to make a prediction, that the Warriors win Game 3. The Clay thing is interesting. They do have 2 games off to get him recovered. And if Clay doesn't start, can't play, then that changes things a little bit. But I would imagine they win Game 3. Then I think the Raptors win Game 4. So we'll see how that plays out. Let's head over to the chat over in what I can see here on my desktop in the Periscope. So we got a bunch of people over here right now. Let's see. Chris Gary wants to know my thoughts on Cousins' performance tonight. Yeah, like I had mentioned a little bit, yeah, much better. Again, we saw the same kind of crazy hyperactivity on defense, almost like too manic. Like, maybe he needs to stay positioned better, a little bit better, because he was on the verge of getting some fouls, and he's lucky he didn't get a couple of those. But really just great to see. At least he's really giving out. And but they were attacking him in the pick and roll, and it was working to some degree. They were getting some good shots, and they were scoring. But he balanced that out and then some with his offense. A little bit of scoring, a lot of the good rebounding, and then certainly the passing. The 6 assists were huge for them. And there were a couple down the stretch that were really big. So, I wasn't sure if they should even go to him that much. And yet he got serious minutes. He got tired, but he held on in there. Let's see, he played 28 minutes. Not even that serious. But you could still see he was winded at times. And then they got some nice stuff from Bogut, 3 for 3 when he was in there for 7 minutes. And really helped them out well. The Looney thing is interesting because, he fell. And it was weird because he fell on his... I want to say he fell on his left shoulder, and he was grabbing his right shoulder in the huddle, and they said it was a left shoulder injury. I can't quite figure that out, but he certainly crashed. I'd imagine that they might be able to do some treatment, get him back, because it's in an area where it's just going to hurt, but they can kind of give him some painkillers and get him back out there. So we'll see about that. Let's see here. Ghost calls everywhere from Gabriel Sturdy. Yeah, they were again. The referees were problematic, and it was both those guys out there is a problem. Yeah, the fourth. I don't know if the fourth quarter was Gabriel was as worst as I've ever seen for the refs, but it's certainly the whole overall game was a pretty bad one. It's certainly bad that I can remember. Let's see here. Anybody else in the chat over here on Periscope? Let's see here. Tri-State East 24. The boxing 1D was great. Absolutely. It was really great to see. And Washburn 4N. Curry possibly sick. Clay and Looney hurt. Cousins gasses at the end. Misses opportunity for Raptors. Absolutely. The Raptors will be kicking themselves. They had opportunities, and they're probably going to sort of, shrug this one off. But I don't know. I think we got a glimpse of what the Warriors can do in that third quarter. We hadn't had a real big third quarter from the Warriors for a while, it felt like. So they reminded us all. Let's see here. K. Leonard MVP. Refs kept Warriors in the first half. I could see a little bit of that. Yeah, there might have been a couple bad calls against the Warriors too, but it didn't. That didn't help. But they missed so many good shots that you got to point to that more. More Bell instead of Bogut. No, I mean Bell didn't even play, did he? Let's see. Did Bell get any minutes? No, he didn't play. I don't think. I mean, I like Bogut in there maybe better. So I don't think he'll change that. You might see another DNP for Bell in Game 3. Let's see. Baroon Reesboot gave me another super chat, and so did, somebody with a message retracted. There's no, but thank you guys. And Greg Belcher, thank you for your super chat. And somebody else, I guess it's anonymous. I'm sorry, but I see a couple of really great super chats, so thank you for that. Let's keep going. Let's go and see what else we have over on the YouTube chat board here. Drake's face when Iggy hit that 3. Mimi Muir. Never before I tweeted this out. If you're not following me on Twitter, you probably should, because it's really fun out there as well. I tweeted that make out. I said, never before has there been a final shot where the opponent was ecstatic that Iggy was taking that 3. The Warriors were like, please no, because there was still 5 seconds on the clock, but it was pretty much, he probably could have waited another second. He was that wide open. So the Raptors were ecstatic. The Warriors were like, please don't shoot that. And then it goes in, and then they flip the feelings instantly. I don't think I've ever seen a shot like that before. And you know what? Iggy hit a couple shots from downtown, right? He He hit 2 shots, 2 for 4 from 3, and the other one he hit was sort of I didn't like the rhythm either. So he came up big for them when they needed to there with that basket. And again, I don't know if it would have necessarily mattered because they still had a lead, but man, talk about icing the game. Let's see here. Him fishy. Mark Jackson, literally, Curry needed to go get a drink of water. Clearly not 100%. Love Curry's game, but Jesus, the media is always trying to protect this dude. Well, yeah, we'll have to find out what the deal is. He definitely was not 100%, but then he was, and then he wasn't again. So very strange all around. Another super chat. Let's see here. Wow, thank you guys. I'm not sure I can say the name of this one, blank pipe, but what do you think about Kawhi's performance? He had the quietest, pun intended, 16 points in the first half. I was shocked when I looked it up at halftime. I was like, he didn't really do much. 7 of those points were from free throws, so that usually keeps it quiet for him. But he wasn't very good, I don't think. And in fact, they changed the way they guarded him. They didn't blitz him on every pick and roll like they did in game 1. And he ended up 8 for 20, which isn't great. 2 for 9 from 3. And again, a lot of those were good looks. But he did get 16 free throws. And I think we're going to look at those and see, I think some of those could have been frustrating for Warriors fans as well. But he really was being like a sledgehammer in there, really initiating a lot of contact. I wonder if a couple of those don't go against him as an offensive foul in Golden State, in Oakland, because they were pretty provocative, trying to force the issue. One of them, actually, he really got in there and no contact was made, and then Boogie gets him on the offhand with that ridiculous and one on a flip with his huge hands. So that one, there wasn't a lot of contact with that sledgehammer of his left shoulder. But I'd be worried if he's going to try and do it again on the road and see if he gets those calls. Let's see here. Hey, Coach, let's see here. Let's go back. Boogie got away with murder on defense by KGZ. I don't know. Maybe. I feel like it was kind of a rough game on both ends. I'll have to look at it and see, My profile pick is the oldest basketball ever. Okay, they got home court advantage where Curry going to shoot lights out. Then that is true. Curry will, I imagine they all play a bit better. The role players will play a little bit better too. So again, the Raptors need to be really concerned. I think Game 3 is the Warriors for them to take. It's just a question of what happens in Game 4 and if they get adjusted. They need Lowry to play better. What do you think about Gasol outside? Now, Gasol was kind of, wasn't the factor at all. 2 for 7 in 31 minutes and 6 points, -6 plus minus. Again, he's just not as aggressive. I thought they did a little bit better kind of getting out to him and not getting him. Remember in my last video when he had enough time to, stick his hand in his armpit and make fart noises before he shot it. Didn't feel like he had enough of those or too many of those. So they were better at kind of trying to mark him and get it, not letting him have that much time. But no one played very well for the Raptors, really. Fred VanVleet probably had the best game aside from, I guess, Kawhi. Let's see. Kareem Abdul, Raptors fan massage special from Drake, soft hands with baby oil. Okay. Austin Jin, the Raptors box in 1D in the fourth seem to be very effective. If Clay is out next game, how can the Warriors make adjustments? Okay, let's talk about the box in 1. I did go to some coaching buddies to get their impression too, because it's not often that you see that. And everyone seemed to think they need to have Curry drive more, attack off the dribble on Fred VanVleet. I would do pistol. I would set a pin down for him, and then I'd go into a handoff or flip it and do handoff into a ball screen, and really try and pull VanVleet off of him and trailing. And now you should have some numbers to attack. That's probably the best way, and certainly have Barakov ball. One of my buddies on Twitter and down in real life too suggested having Steph Curry set ball screens. I'm intrigued by that because in theory VanVleet does not want to leave Curry, so that might leave a nice lane for someone else to come off and drive. Who that might be, you got to kind of figure that out because you got to come up with someone who can penetrate. Clay could be that guy if he's healthy. Iguodala, but he's not really the finisher. So it's like maybe Quinn Cook can then create out of that. It's interesting to figure out who he'd want to screen for. Heck, screen for Boogie. Let Boogie go. Boogie had a couple nice drives. He looked kind of spry a little bit on offense on a couple of those where he looked moved better than I'd seen him. So that's really cool too to see that. Let's go over to Periscope and see what we have here. And again, I might check my phone only because sometimes they don't come up on the down desktop. You know what? Another coach just texted me. Raptors didn't foul for 20 seconds before Iggy bangs the dagger. What? WTF? Let me think about that. Because the shot clock difference wasn't big enough. I don't think it was. Maybe it was a second. What was the shot clock difference? And what was the score? Tell me, guys, what the score was at that point. It was it 3? or was it? It wasn't 2. It was 3, right? Who's going to tell me? I'm going to go into let's see. I'll scroll down to the YouTube. Who remembers what the situation was? 2 or 3 second difference, so it's tough. Yeah, you pretty much got a foul then. If they had it was it was a 2-point game. Oh my God! Wait a minute. Okay, 2-point game. 2 or 3 second difference on the shot clock. Yeah. Did they have any timeouts? They probably had a timeout, right? It still doesn't matter, right? It's too close because what the Warriors. Okay, so that was what Jeff Van Gundy's point was. Is especially with Iggy open like that, you just wait till about 1 second the shot clock, shoot a high arching shot, and the game is over because by the time it bounces and then they get the rebound, they won't be able to call timeout anyway. So that's a real problem. Yeah, that needed to be a foul, and someone's going to have to answer to that. Nick Nurse will have to answer to that because that's a real problem. I do see a super chat. Uza 88 99. Sorry, thank you for that. Awesome. Awesome super chat there. Any more that I'm missing here? Let me make sure, but I want to give everyone their due. Stephen Harvey, did I already talk about this one? 499. Let's see. The insertion of Boogie into the starting 5 could end up being a game changer for Golden State. Yeah, absolutely. His passing, it's like, he reminds everybody that Marc Gasol isn't always the best passer from the high post or the low post. Great point there as well. And yeah, Uza88, thank you for that super chat. Hey, listen, I really appreciate super chats. It's a nice way to make me think that you guys are enjoying what I'm doing, and I really do enjoy these great questions and great stuff. Let's see here. Let me fire on my Periscope with my phone to make sure I'm not missing any of that stuff. Let's see here. And Ryan, thank you for texting me. If you're watching, that's great. Thank you so much. He's a coach out there. Okay, shout out to another family member who's just got a text who's listening in. Hey, Mike. And by the way, Mike, who's listening, was in the video. If you haven't seen, by the way, I did a really funny parody of the basketball rap by, oh my goodness, basketball is my favorite sport. I love the way they hustle down the court. Who is that? That is, oh my God, my brain is mush. Who was the rapper that did the basketball rap? Anyway, we did a shot-for-shot remake. Mike was one of the guys in it. It's really hilarious. You should look it up and watch it because it's me in my really weird 70s glory, I suppose. And it's pretty funny. Great lyrics, great stuff. We changed the words to it for coaching basketball. All right. Let's do another one. Nilson Perez asks, should the Raptors have invested in an extra guard because of Lowry's playoff woes? I mean, yeah, but Van Vliet is that guy, and they should probably play them together. But you got to ride or die with him. He's your starting guard. He's been there the whole time. They're going to have to just hope he straightens it out. Let's see, Nirsig Desai, how did they rate Curry's performance? Curry was up and down, and it sounds like it's apropos of his problem with his whatever health issues he's having. Kawhi Leonard, Raps were so close to stealing. Oh my God, let's talk about that. So Kawhi Leonard makes a great point, if whoever that really is. Raps were so close to stealing the final possession. Steph Curry throws a dying quail. If you're not a baseball fan, that's a really soft pass across the middle, and it should have been a steal. They had it, and they were up only by 2. That would have been a tie game, and just a shocking way to like probably go to overtime or whatever. But they really lucked out. Let's see here. Another super chat. Thank you so much, Mark Hare. Wow. Steve Kerr, great adjustment defending Kawhi. I can't see anyone else carrying the Raptors at Oracle. And right, so they adjusted that. They don't blitz him every time, get the ball out of his hands. So he does. He gets his 34 points, but the result is different. The Warriors win, and they won. It wasn't going away, but they had control of the game when they needed it. So that might be the lesson learned is, let Kawhi or play him as well as you can. Let him get his, and then really try and shut down everybody else. Is what ended up doing. So lesson learned, I guess, in Steve Kerr's part, and also because I think it was interesting because. Nick Nurse was really going to be prepared. He actually revealed in yesterday's pregame 2 interview that he described what he was concerned about a little bit when they were doubling Kawhi, sort of running at him at the top to get the ball out of his hands. And I showed that in the Stephen collab I did with him yesterday. And he was like, yeah, I hadn't seen the Warriors ever do that before, where they would just run a guy at him as a second guy and then zone up behind Iggy, who would go run at Kawhi. So they didn't do it. And so whatever they might have prepared for that went down the drain because, it wasn't there. Let me look at let's see here. Let me go into the Periscope on my phone and see if I can't see any more of the comments. So the comments are really kind of wonky on Periscope these days. Does anybody even watch Periscope? We got some people in here, but K. Leonard MVP, Raps in 5 with no Clay. Yeah, I don't know. I don't feel it either. Anyway, we got some good questions here. As of the Sun, I'd love to see more Bell out there. He gives out on D, but a total non-factor on offense. Well, hey, remember when he started in the first game, he had a nice layup going to the basket like from the high post. So he can give you a little bit of something on the offensive end, and certainly the vertical threat of the lobs is there with him. Let's see here. So I don't know. I wouldn't change up. I would keep. I think, but I did like what Bogut did out there too. So I might try that again and see if Bogut's giving you some minutes. Then Bell just rides the pine. Let's see. Kareem Sacker asks, Coach, what are your opinion on the Warriors having Curry pick more often in plays? I mean, he screens a lot, so I don't know if they have to screen him anymore. And it's probably kind of taxing on him and risks getting him injured if they do it too often. Warriors were so freaking lucky in the final possession. So yeah, that's right. I already read that one. Let's see here. JP Go Eagles 1. Kawhi choked. You got to close versus Golden State without KD and Clay. Yeah, I got to kind of go through that play-by-play now and realize what he did at the end there because I know the Warriors didn't score for that big stretch down at the end, and obviously the Raptors couldn't quite take advantage of that. Oh, Curtis Blow. That's right, basketball. Thank you, Margot, out there for telling me. How can I forget that? So, it's Curtis with a K. Let's see here. Kelsey Combo. Like your content on YouTube and gameplay commentary. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. It's been really fun to do all this content throughout the whole playoffs. I think I've averaged like 1.5 videos per day throughout the finals or throughout the playoffs. Crazy. K. Leonard MVP. Warriors learned from Rockets and started flopping. Okay. Coach, thoughts on Steve Kerr playing a 10-man rotation by Khalid 33 Najjar? You know what? I think he's worried. Even though it's a 10-man rotation, look at the numbers. Bogut is 7 minutes. So that's Jerebko 6. So he's not really. He's giving them each one little run. I didn't like Jerebko either out there. He was a -9. In fact, he had the game low -9. Now remember, plus minus isn't always worthwhile looking at, but for me, it's like I didn't like the way he played, and that kind of confirms it. There are times when I thought, wow, this guy did a lot of really great things, and he's got a bad plus minus, and I can then I'll try and rationalize that. But that is indicative to me of a bad stretch. He didn't help them at all either. Let's head back over to the YouTube chat because we got a lot of stuff happening here. Let me see here, and let me make sure. Okay, let's go here. Let's see here. Let's go from here. And I'm trying to get through. I'm sorry, there's so many comments in this YouTube thing. I'm going to try and get through it. Brian Gray, who won the game? Well, the Warriors won at the very end. Love the process. Curry's careless pass that deflected right to Iguodala was so lucky. It was, for sure. Well, here's the question. What was more lucky? The fact that the pass deflected to Iguodala or that Iguodala actually hit the shot? That's a good question. We should decide. Quintavious Jackson. Hey, Coach Nick, what do you think? Who do you think is better for the Warriors, Bell or Looney? Looney for sure, but Looney is hurt. But yeah, no question. Destry Newiger. Is Kawhi trying to hurt people? I don't think he's trying to hurt people, but he's going in there and he's throwing stuff. Now watch Ibaka. Ibaka is borderline dirty on what he's doing under the basket. So keep your eye on him. I think him and Livingston went toe to toe for a second because he hit him across the face. And we've seen Ibaka do it again in a dirty way in the last series, I believe it was. So keep your eye on him. He starts to mix it up and try and get guys to fight him, or I don't know what he's trying to do. Okay. Michael Hodges, I hope Clay comes back. I certainly do too. I don't want to see these finals when it's completely decimated with injuries. Let's see here. Spencer, let's see. Gasol got boogied. Okay, bamboo. That's a nice use of the phrase. Patrick Mealy. I'm not a Raptors fan, though. I'm a Sixers fan. I'm from New Jersey. You're a Sixers fan from New Jersey. Okay. All right, interesting. Adamer Eyecatch, which is definitely not the way to say that. Coach, will Durant return to Game 3? What do you think? Well, they've been talking about it, but they've been very coy. I think he's hurt a lot worse than we know. I think, obviously, if it was 0-2, the general consensus was he would definitely push himself to come back. 1-1, I think maybe not. They might kind of hold him out one more time. Now, here's the real question is, if Clay can't play, then I would say 75% chance that KD is going to push himself to come back. So, RW, thank you so much for the super chat. Love it. I really appreciate it. And so mark my words there. If Clay is out, then KD probably pushes himself back early to come back. Let's see here. S. Kruller, what do you know? Will the refs actually blow their whistle when the Raptors try to rough up the Warriors? Okay. We got that's a little salty. Roach Kai, let's see, he's talking to somebody else. Okay, how many points off lobs for the Warriors? Well, I remember, let's see, we had the Bogut beautiful tip, that fingertip tip. I tweeted that out too. That's why your coaches always made you do the fingertip drills. But they didn't have too many. They probably had like 4. That Siakam one though, that I think Fred VanVleet threw up to him, and I was like, you don't have to be accurate at all. Just throw it anywhere you want. He went up and must have been 2 feet over the rim and threw it down. Let's see here. Thank you, C Smooth and Lil Player. Let's see here. Nilson Perez, I think I'm already gone through these. Let's see if I can catch up to where it was. Josh Peltier, do you think the Raptors can steal a game in Oracle? Yeah, I think they can steal game 4 is my plan at this point. What they have to do is they have to get a better play from Lowry. They have to get a really good game from Kawhi. I mean, they have to get back to what does so well. Siakam has to be Siakam, which is his 17 points, but I think they need a great game from Kawhi and a great game from Lowry in the same game. I know that will really help. And it probably won't hurt if, somebody's off on the Warriors. Teo39, don't forget to give props to Livingston. Second hustle play that saved the game. I don't like what Livingston was doing anyway, overall. Defensively was really, I felt like hurting them. And his shot is just, his shot's always been really janky to me anyway, but what did he end up finishing? 2 for 4. Okay, he hit a couple shots, but his outside shot, the way he hangs and the way he jerks his head back, and it's just really ugly. And he's been able to make it work for him for a long time, but not this year, not in the playoffs. It's really been a struggle. In fact, I bet you anyone can look it up if you have a chance. His playoff field goal percentage must be pretty darn low. Let's see here. My opinion on the Curry's technical foul by Tino wants to know. I mentioned it earlier in the show, but it probably is one of those things where the referee shouldn't call it, and he didn't slam the ball down and have it go all the way up, and maybe that's the referee thought. He just tossed it up, but that's the kind of thing that in high school it merits a technical foul, and by the book it is or whatever, so I could see it, but you're right, it just didn't seem to be prudent at that moment, and it's kind of lucky it didn't come back to like really jeopardize the game like it could have. Let's see, Michael B. What do you think of Lowry, Kawhi, Pascal, Serge, and Gasol? I've been I want to see Serge and Gasol together. So I'm up for it. Maybe not even as a starting lineup, but just at some point in the game, try that out and see, because Gasol gets beat maybe in the pick and roll. I like the notion of Serge back there as a rim protector, and we had seen that in the previous series. I don't know if they played them together at all. I got to look at the lineups, but I don't think that they have. I don't think so. So now maybe Nurse is worried about like sort of foul trouble, and because if both of those guys are a problem, they have no other big men to really play. But give it a chance. Let's see here. Shivan Sankalia, did Nick Nurse go to the boxing one because Clay was out? I mean, I think for sure. Why not? They really have no other threats. Let's put Ben, and you have a guy like VanVleet who's tough as nails, and I love how he did that. He just bulldogged him the whole way through. Who's going to, let's see here. Will KD be back? I just answered that. Min Huang, who's going to get more minutes next game, Looney or Bogut? You know what? If Looney is healthy and fine, then he will for sure. And if he's not, then he'll get 0, I guess, and Bogut will play more. Are you correct? Green is a dud. Bench him. You didn't say which Green, Draymond or Danny. Iceberg Wilson, Looney looked like a Goonie. Okay, good rhyming. Raptor all day. Draymond and Steph switched maturity levels. Interesting. Yeah. Okay. Jonas Conrad. So letting Kawhi ISO and shut everybody else down is a better game plan defensively. Great question. Well, yeah, but you're not like letting him ISO. I mean, I guess you are because you're not getting it out of his hands. But they're still, D'ing him up and they're rotating like they would normally do on anybody who's a top scorer. But yeah, it clearly seemed to do that. It won them the game, and that's all that matters, right? Let's see. Let's go back over to Periscope and see what we have. Let's see here. Anybody new we haven't talked to? Let's see. Oh, here we go. Joshua. I couldn't believe that the Raptors couldn't buy a bucket after the defense was insane. They really couldn't all game long. In fact, let's look at their three-point shooting across the board. It was 11th for 38, 28.9%. It's not good. A, that's not good. But B, how many of those were wide open threes? 10, 11, maybe? And they didn't make any of them, probably, or maybe 1 or 2 tops. That real problem with that. They need to get in the gym and start shooting. Let's see. B South G8. Do you think that they need to try OG next game? Was he cleared? Was he active? Let me look at the back score if it tells me. He was active. I don't know, man. He hasn't played in so long it just seems like a real, like, I don't know if you're setting him up for disaster by throwing him out there in the game 3 of the finals and seeing how he does. But so I just don't know. I don't think that he will, but you never know. It's maybe he'll have a nice practice and he'll look better and they'll feel good about it. But that seems to be hard. Norman Powell though got 21 points and he was plus 13. He was big. He really played well for them on some curls. That really nice dunk off of that. So good to see him getting the normal minutes. And then no McCaw, and I thought McCaw played okay last game. So who knows how they decide to make these adjustments? I don't know if it's very scientific at all. By the way, it just seems like it's by the seat of the pants, and if it works, it works. Okay, well, let's see here. How are we doing on time? Let's see. We are okay. Let's take a few more questions. I'm game if you guys are having fun. The Pioneer, thank you for your super chat, and we have a question here. Why does Golden State Warriors double team Kawhi but not Harden? Oh wow. Why did they do that but not Harden? Probably because they were even more worried about the three-point shooting, although you can argue that there's enough shooters on the Raptors too. But I have to imagine that would probably be why they felt like that. And also, I know why. Harden is a much better passer than Kawhi. Harden can throw passes for open threes better than Kawhi. Kawhi's going to make the good pass. He's going to make the solid pass. But Harden's on another level, and that's why you can't afford to, you can't jump him up on top like that with the whole floor in front of him. So let's see here. Let's see. Nick, you should get a whiteboard. Oh, so I can show what the boxing one is. Damn. I don't have. I wish I could do. What can I do? What can I use? I have a pen. Yeah, that might be too hard. You know what? That's a great idea. But I'll do it in the video. How about that? I'll animate it and make it all cool looking. But boxing one is just, two defenders on the elbows, two defenders on the blocks, and they play a zone. It's actually easier to play a zone in the NBA like that because you can't be in the lane for more than 3 seconds. So the 2-2 kind of lets you be out, and it kind of puts you in the right position anyway. And then there was the one who just literally doesn't have to worry about anybody else, just kind of face guards the one who was Steph Curry. You don't see that hardly at all. You never see that in the NBA. So let's see here. You know what, Craig Robb wants to talk about the moving screens. It's by the way, they did get called for at least one, and it was a lot of contact. That was great. If you want that call, you got to kind of hurdle yourself into the screener. A lot of times guys just kind of stop, or they move around and they kind of barely bump into them, and the referee's like, I can't call it even though he's moving because there's no contact or there's not enough contact. So if I were coaching that, I'd say torpedo the guy, and they'll force him to make that call. Let's see here. Any other good questions as we wrap this up? Okay, Wedo Boys thinks that OG will get a little run. Okay, we'll see. Listen, if we haven't figured it out by now, Nick Nurse is out of the box, and I love it. Thoughts on the BS goaltend? Wait. Which BS goaltend? The one they didn't call? That was on a lob to, I think it was Bogut, and he crammed it in, and it probably... I don't know if it matters if it has to be an obvious shot. I'll have to ask Ronnie about that. I missed another one. Oh, excuse me. I missed David Nicolay. Or I don't know if I mentioned him yet, but thank you for the super chat. And then Ignite the Chaotix. Awesome. Thank you so much for Canadian super chat, I think is what the CA means. Thoughts on Jeremy Lin in the future games? He ain't going to play. That's it. Sorry. They're just not going to put him in for the same reason that maybe OG doesn't get a lot of run at all because he just hasn't played. I don't think, I could argue, yes, if Lowry continues to tank like this, then, give him minutes, but I just don't think they're going to do it. In fact, I feel like somebody told me something about it. Maybe his injury isn't, he's not quite healthy anyway. Let's see here. So there, baby celery 45. There's my answer to should Jeremy Lin play. I just don't know if it might not be fair to him to throw him out there, but if Lowry is going to crap the bed a little bit, then maybe give him a run in the middle of the second quarter, see what happens. What was the goaltend? Damn, somebody just told me and it jumped. Let's see here. Refund HG. If Clay is out and KD, do you expect oh my goodness, I hate this chat. It just jumped again. Thoughts on Clay's goaltend. Why am I completely forgetting Clay's goaltend? Oh, and then, this is the perils of having an office above a garage. My wife is going. And if my wife is listening to this, thank you so much, my dear, for going to pick up our daughter and letting me do my live show. Let's see here. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Okay. First of all, the Clay, yes, Clay puts his hand through the rim because I had tweeted out saying he hit him on the arm because that's what it looked like from the regular view. He did both. So not only was it a goal attempt by putting your hand through the rim on a dunk attempt, but he then hit the arm, and that also hurt him on the make of the basket. So again, the referees were just really struggling on a lot of different stuff, and that might be kind of hard. It's fast, it's up there, and you're looking at the body and whatever for the whatever. But you got to see that. Someone's got to see that. So that was a terrible call. If Clay's out, do you expect the Raptors to box him on the step the entire game? Wow, Refund HG, great question. Will they do that the entire game? Man, I don't think so. I think that eventually they figure that stuff out. That's why it's hard to play a zone the whole game, and the reason why I can't stand Boeheim in Syracuse. But they're not going to play it the whole game, so I'll already guarantee that. But they'll probably play it more in the first half and see what happens. And I guess we're going to find out what Coach Kerr is going to do against that. So maybe we'll have to figure out what do something about that. John Herzog, if KD comes back, another awesome. Thank you for the super chat. If KD comes back, BK. If KD comes back, would you match him against Kawhi or rotate Draymond over on the defensive end? Ooh. Let's see here. If KD comes back, should he guard Kawhi? I think that they're going to have to. I mean, you know what? That's not necessarily true. They could easily put him on Siakam as well. So I don't know. That's a great question. I have to imagine if he plays, it's because he's healthy. And if he's healthy, he should play Kawhi. That would be awesome. So, and they switch a lot of different stuff too. But I would imagine that KD's going to match up against Kawhi and, see what happens. Drop the gauntlet. All right. Well, let's see here. I think I'm at the bottom of the chat here. Second chance points definitely hurt the Warriors. I need to see the number total, but there were, I can think right now, a couple of different possessions, especially down the end there when I think Danny Green finally hit that three. Was it Danny Green? They got, three offensive rebounds in that one possession. That's going to be a problem. And they had Boogie in there, and they had Draymond. You'd think that those guys could could vacuum up those balls. They couldn't get them. Mo Ali, Abdullah. I don't think Kawhi played great. I think he could play better. Let's see here. Mo Ali, was Steph keeping his dribble through the trap a huge change and helped open the offense? I don't know. I don't know if it was any different than the first game. I think that it did open some stuff up when they did try and squeeze him. Tom, okay, did the refs quick whistle in the first half ruin the Raps' aggressive D? Interesting. You know what? I got to check. Were they really in foul trouble in the first half? I guess Lowry might have been, right? Let me see if I can call up the old stats on NBA.com box score if it's ready to show me first half. Because, in the box score at stats.nba.com, you can do a slider and choose just the first half and see the stats. So in the first half, let's see here. The personal fouls, the Warriors got called for 14, and guess what? The Raptors got called for 14. But Siakam had 3, and Lowry had 3. It certainly could have been an issue. It could have been a thing, yeah. Now, again, if you got 3 and it's sort of midway through this third quarter, then you're not really in foul trouble anymore. So I don't think that, that is sort of less of an issue. And I saw that happen. Oh, Draymond did the same thing. Draymond had 3 fouls midway through the third and was playing like he was in foul trouble when you're not. At that point, you're pretty much okay. Thoughts on starting Van Vliet? Well, and so what? Instead of Danny Green? Let's see here. Let me redo the whole game here and the refresh. Let's see. Danny Green played 25 minutes, 8 points, 2 for 5. I don't think they're going to do it. I think they like him right where he is, and I wouldn't change it either. Let Van Vliet feast the way he's been doing, without changing anything for him. Let's see here. Thoughts on Kawhi's health? I think he looks okay. I know he might be wincing and whatever, but he looks okay to me. But I guess maybe the knee is not, or the leg isn't 100%. Let's see here. Who do you think is the biggest factor in Golden State's win? From Shaji Hassan Abinal. Who's the biggest factor tonight? I guess you get to say Clay. Well, you know what? Well, yeah, Clay was, and then he goes out, and then they struggle. I thought he was, because the way he shot, he was, crazy on fire from all over, and just barely even looking at the rim and making those shots. So I'd go with Clay on that one. All right, let me go. I'm on the bottom here. Let's just quickly check Periscope. Any other questions there? Yeah, K. Leonard MVP. Okay, I hear you, but at some point you got to let go of your foul trouble and just play. Joshua, tell me why the Raptors didn't even attempt to drive when they were in the bonus with 4 minutes in. Yeah, another good question. Good teams will know that, right? Once they get in the bonus, it's early that they try and create those opportunities to get free throws and force the referees to call it. You know what? They might have done a little bit of that. I mean, Kawhi might have, but it's worth looking again. James N, thank you so much for a super chat. Really just, and Carson Sims as well. Excuse me for missing that one. Really just very generous of you guys to do that, and I'm glad that you guys are part of this. There's probably people out here who have been in the conversation for years, right? Which is crazy. Some guy told me the other day, he's like, yeah, I started watching you in high school. And the guy's like an adult now, like, with a job. It's crazy how long this has been going on and how long people have been with me. It's been it blows me away. And Refund HD, Refund HD. Let's give you kudos too for good questions. Maybe we'll wrap up on this one. Do you think the Raptors blew their chance to win their series by not going up 2-0? Yeah, I think so. I think that the Warriors are going to win this in 6. And certainly, especially the way it happened, they had their chance. You know what I mean? It had to hurt Raptors fans going through that first half and realizing that they really should have been up 15, 16, easy. So it's a good point. Justin Black, thank you so much for your super chat. Really, really appreciate it. It's nice. I don't ask for much or whatever, just guys to be a part of the conversation, and for you to reward me like that is just really something special. Let's see here. New Doughboy, I went back and watched your old stuff. You've been at this for a long time. Don't go back and watch the really old stuff. It was not good. And please, unless you want a good laugh. Before I had any idea what I was doing. Gigolo Puff, again, is out there being the moderator in the chat. Again, huge thanks for him. He's always there. Never not there. Nick Flynn, why didn't the Raptors foul? We talked a little bit about that, but at the end, foul Draymond at the end. Absolutely, it was a mistake. Terrible clock management. We got to look and see if we can. I don't know if they were in front of the Raptors bench or not. Were they waving their hands? Were they calling for the foul? I mean, But then again, Kawhi needs to know that. He's been in this situation long enough. He needs to know they got to take a foul. And where did we see that before? There was another playoff game where they didn't take the foul in a very similar situation, and it was really bad. Was it the Spurs? Okay, so maybe Kawhi doesn't know. I think it was the Spurs who didn't do it as well, and that was Popovich. So it happens, but it cannot happen in the finals, man, in that situation. Let's see. Forrest, the producer, says Nurse was pissed because he couldn't call a timeout with 5 to 4 minutes left when they weren't driving. Okay. Let's see here. All right. Well, listen. Spurs game. Oh, it's game 7. Yeah. This is great. I think before we get too long, I want you guys to want more, and we've been going in for about 45 minutes now. So, did you think Van Vliet had a clear path foul? Oh, first of all, let's talk about that. Dennis Liu asks, it was a horrible call on Steph Curry. I mean, what Van Vliet, who I love, nails him with his own forearm into Curry's chest. He's just running, and he flies off of that. Total flop, total whatever that was. And so not only should that not have been a clear path, it just shouldn't have been a foul on Curry. It was terrible. And then, okay, Elijah Wise wants to know if Gasol's picks and screens were illegal. They all ride it. They all push the limit without question. But nothing really stood out. I think they did call one on him, and then that one seemed right. Or was it Ibaka? The refs are doing their job, I think, on that end. Let's see here. All right, well, listen. Wow. We got a lot of questions coming in at the end. The boss wants to know the restriction of movement by the Raptors on Steph. It's just what it is. Steph is just going to have to deal with having to be pulled and clawed and pushed all over the place. If he has the ball in his hands more, then they can't call it because they got to protect him when he has the ball. So that's the only solution to that. Let's see here. Force the producer. Of course, I'm here to read as many comments as I can because it's not a channel, it's a conversation. Let's see. Tushar Daryanani. What are your thoughts about Van Vliet guarding Curry? And don't you think that he reminds you of John Starks from New York Knicks? Oh, Van Vliet and Starks. I don't know. That's interesting. I mean, Starks is a little bit crazier. Van Vliet just seems a little bit more like, not as crazy, more like technically sound. I think Van Vliet's probably a much better finisher than Starks was at the rim. But Starks could really stroke it from outside. So, I would never even in a million years thought of that, but okay, there's something there. Alexander Lung, let's see here. Where did they go? This scrolling thing is a little wonky. Do you think that Kawhi would be more motivated to play in Oracle given the injury that happened in the Spurs versus Warriors series before? I doubt it. I think he's motivated. So, let's see here. Jason Call, thank you so much for being for a big Breakdown fan. You're a friend of the Breakdown. Now, Nick Flynn, I guess you might have missed. I did talk about the zone a couple times. Let's see here. Is Steph the Finals MVP right now? I don't know. Gosh, who is the Finals MVP so far? Because we guess we should start thinking about that. Really great question. I don't know. I don't know what I can say. I don't know. I guess if I'm hesitant right now, that must mean that maybe it's not Steph. All right, listen. Wilfredo Cordero. Hey, Coach Nick. Hello from Puerto Rico. Hola. Mil gracias, señor. Yeah, one day maybe I'll do this in Spanish. Let's see here. Curry usually has a bad road game in the first 4 games, and if this was the bad one, then he's going to be fine. Well, that's interesting. I'll have to look that up and see if that's really true. All right, I got to run. It's time. Maybe Periscope. I'll check. Anything else going on over there? No. Okay. All right, listen, awesome stuff. Thank you guys for joining us. I'm going to have Jared back with me, I believe, for after game 4. So you don't have to hear me droning on the whole time. But awesome questions, everybody. Thank you so much for the super chats. I can't, thank you guys enough. It's so generous of you guys and for being here. We had a ton of people here on YouTube. Thank you so much for that. And I don't know. Don't forget, sports fans, at B-Ball Breakdown, we're not a channel. We're a conversation. You win.